Welcome to the Power Brokers Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santini. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also catch the video version on YouTube. Today, we have with us Omar Periu, national speaker, coach, trainer. He's the author of 16 best-selling books and heads up Omar Periu International, one of the leading wealth training companies in the world. Omar has trained over 5 million people and has worked with numerous Fortune 500 companies. He shared the stage with Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, and Lou Holtz, among others, and is known as the master motivational teacher. Hi, Omar. Welcome.
Thank you, Joe, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, we're excited to have you on today. And listen, Omar, you've had a lot of success, right? And, summarize your journey for us. Like, how do you go from a boy in Cuba to the success that you're enjoying today?
As you said, Joe, I was born in Cuba, and we escaped when I was a young man, sponsored by a church to Joliet, Illinois, and then didn't do well in school because I couldn't understand the language, and was able to get into sports. Though I was really good at sports. So, long story short, I held the AU record for bench press, 400 pounds, and I made it to the Olympic trials in the 100-yard dash and then the 100-meter. But I really love to sing. My mother has a beautiful soprano voice. I inherited her voice. So I got a scholarship for music, and I went to SIU. And, like a lot of people, when they want to achieve something, there's something driving them. Well, for me, it was I saw my father work really hard and accumulate, without even speaking English, 3 gas stations and auto parts, 10-stall garage, and a block worth of his own real estate. But, it's a lot. Something is to accumulate things, another thing is to keep it. And he lost it all. And I said to myself, if I could learn how to accumulate things like he did and keep it, I could, really be helpful to other people. So, long story short, I go out to California to be discovered as a singer. They weren't waiting for me. And I had to take a job. So the only thing I knew is how to build, tone, firm, and reduce the body. So I got a job as a personal trainer for Tom Selleck, Magnum PI. And I got a job training Abdul-Jabbar and Jerry West and some other celebrities. But I saw salespeople making a lot of money. I thought, that's for me. So I go into sales, and I thought it would be easy, but it wasn't. I got lucky, though. Like you said, Joe, how'd you get here? I met mentors. I met really great mentors, like Tom Murphy, who owned Champions Unlimited. You probably don't know who Tom Murphy is, but he was CEO of Champions Unlimited. He managed speakers like Tom Hopkins, Dennis Waitley, Danielle Kennedy, Jay Abraham, just to name a few, Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And so I got lucky because he was in personal development. He had just got a divorce, wanted to get in shape, and he heard I was the best. So he hired me and started sending me to seminars to all these people, like his best friend, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and he changed my life. And so we built the largest health clubs in the United States. When we sold them, Tom Hopkins and Zig Ziglar were sitting in a diner. I walked in with Mr. Murphy, and they asked me to take their place. So I didn't want to be a speaker, just so you know. I was a singer. I sang. You probably know I've got like 3 records. I did very well singing, and I just wanted to sing. But they told me that since they all invested their life into mine, they wanted me to invest my life into others. So I thought of my dad. I thought, you know what? That's what I want to do. So I started doing that more, and here I am. All these years later, like you said, 5 million people trained. Not having to work since I was 31 years old from being broke. And, I'm just fortunate. And like I tell everyone, get yourself a mentor. Like I know you mentor a lot of people in your office and in your industry. So I think it's important to have great mentors and to be a real self-development nut, if you will. I said to my mentor, Tom Murphy, why did I get to where I am? He says, you were the most coachable person we ever met. You got to be coachable.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Really interesting. So it sounds like your father had that work ethic, and that
Yes.
is where you got that from. Let me ask you, do you miss the singing at all?
I do. I do. And during the holidays, I'll get my voice about 50%, and I'll go around and do stuff with the pops and all that different, the Boca Pops and different Palm Beach or California, LA Civic Light Opera Company. And I'll sing a little bit, but it's not what it used to be. You probably have done this before many of times, but when you go for a goal, you reach the goal, you're like, okay, I satisfied that goal. I need to move on. Like when I did weightlifting, I still lift, but I don't lift heavy. And I held the AU record for bench press. I moved on from weights. Then when I ran track and I was in the Olympic trials, I moved on from that. And then when I owned the health clubs, I moved on from that. Then I did the music. I moved on from that. Now I'm doing the speaking and writing another book right now on mindset, which, as you know, is everything for business. And I think because of what we're going into, this economy, I think it's important that people keep their mindset right, right?
Really, really true. And what you said, I think, is important too. I think people, it's okay to move on and do different things and do more than one thing. I think that's important. You achieve something and you do something else. That's really interesting. Your journey. And I didn't know a lot of those things. So let me ask you this: like, listen, we all have 24 hours in a day. We all have the same biology. We all have a brain. Why do you think some people are successful, Omar, and some people just aren't?
I really think that a lot of people have to realize that no one's going to do it for you, right? Zig Ziglar used to say to me, God gives you the ingredients, you got to make the bread. So what he meant was you can set all these goals, but if you don't go after them and break them down. So what I recommend for everyone to set goals that are worthy of you. Number one. Number two, realize it's not the goal. It's not. Let's say you want a new car or a new suit or a watch or a new home. It's not the material thing. It's how it makes you feel. And that's one of the most important things I teach people. Most people think that, oh, I want the new car, I want the new truck. And then we all know that once you get it, a week later, you don't even think about it. But it's not the new truck, the new home, the vacation. It's how it makes you feel. So I want people to go after goals that scare them and excite them and make them feel really successful. Because success is from within. I'll say something very important right now. There's no outer circumstance that can change your day. Only your inner way, your inner being. If your mindset is right, anything that's on your outer circumstance cannot change your mindset or your mood. It's how you handle what you're given.
Interesting. And, I know like the office that I run, there's a lot of agents. And I'll tell you, I see a lot of people come and they struggle with motivation. In fact, I would say that many of the people who don't make it in this business, in my business, the real estate business, they're just not motivated and they can't get that way. They can't find a way to get there. So what do you think the secret is to getting motivated? What are people missing who can't find it?
You really have to find your why. Why do you get up in the morning? If you don't have a why, whether it's your children, your significant other, your community, your church temple, etc., you got to have a why because life is tough. And you've got to find things that move you, and you got to be a self-starter. Don't wait for anyone to make it happen for you. Dennis Waitley, one of my mentors, said, "Winners make it happen, losers let it happen." So, and like you said, Lou Holtz, he said, "Act like a champion today." Right? That's that whole Notre Dame mantra. So it's important that you realize that no one's going to do it for you. You got to get up in the morning. And I have a saying for all entrepreneurs and especially salespeople and realtors. Any one of you that wakes up without a plan, you are unemployed because we basically Joe, you're a great broker and a trainer and a mentor. However, you've got to have a plan. And when you wake up, you got to execute that plan because if you don't, you're unemployed because you're basically working for yourself.
Right. Well said for sure. And I know you mentioned mentors a lot and the importance of them. And I know you're a great mentor, a great coach. What are the benefits of having a mentor? How has it helped you and how does it help people in general?
Well, a mentor is someone, and pick someone that you look at them and really check them out. Too many people sign up for coaching and mentoring; they really don't check people out. But make sure that that person has is aligned in the same goals you are. So, for instance, for me, my first goal is spirituality. Number two is health, to get rich and sick and stupid, right? And number three is being happy most of the time. And number four is wealth. So if you look for somebody, look for someone that has. I always tell people, because I was a personal trainer, people say to me, I want to get in shape. I want to hire a personal trainer. What should I look for? Look for someone that has a body like you want, because they are doing the things that you need to do to get that same physique and then the nutrition. So look for somebody like that. But I think a mentor helps you get there quicker, avoids quicksand, pitfalls, holes in a whatever road. But it's important to find someone that's been there, that's had success. And I always tell people that a great mentor is like a captain on a boat. The captain will see what you want, will take you on a journey, starts the journey, takes you through the journey successfully, and completes the journey in a successful manner. And that's what a great mentor does. They know how to get there.
That's interesting. And you know, why figure it all out? Why not latch on and have and follow that road that's already been blazed? And I think what you said at the top of this, being coachable, I think that's a key. Like I think some people aren't coachable, like they couldn't even have a mentor, like they just aren't in that right mindset, you know? Being coachable, I guess, is a big part of it.
Yeah, yeah, like you see it all the time. A new agents come in, and they were in another industry, and now they think they know it all. They just come in, they want to be a realtor, but it's not like that. You got to be mentored by whoever is your broker or your mentors that you have in your office, and learn the business. I always tell realtors, because as you know, I train a lot of real estate companies and realtors, and I tell people it takes you about a year and a half to really get the business. So you got to focus for about a year and a half, and don't expect success. You might get lucky and get a couple sales or rentals, but don't expect success overnight. It takes time, and you got to build your reputation and your farm and all those different things.
Yeah, well said. I mean, they're building a business, and sometimes in real estate, people don't understand that. They're just going from deal to deal. But like you said, you got to approach it. Even though you can have some quick success, you wanna build a business that's going to be around a while. And I know you travel around a lot. You've worked with some really big companies, Omar. What do you provide in the corporate space, like for these big companies? What are you doing for them?
Well, the three big things that are happening right now in our economy is number one, uh, people are hiring me for leadership and masterminds. So people want to learn how to lead their team, lead their companies, or expand their companies or amplify their companies. So leadership has been number one. So my program from management to leadership has been really great lately. Number two is my other program, the number one program in the world in sales, investigative selling, because everybody needs to become an investigator and learn how the power to influence and persuade. And number three has been really just the mindset and learning how to get the mindset of success, and also presentation skills. A lot of people are hiring me for teaching people to present. I had an executive call me up just last week, and he goes, Omar, you got to come train my people, because every time we do a regional or annual conference, it's painful to see these top CEOs or presidents or heads of a region get up and deliver their next quarter, and they don't even know how to speak. So I've been doing a lot of my 1 minute meeting, which is one of my most popular programs.
That's so true. Yeah. And it's probably just a wealth of information that you give them. And, listen, you're on the road a lot. I'm sure, preparing for all these things is not easy. And any entrepreneur is kind of working all the time. So, listen, you live in a beautiful place. What do you do for fun?
Well, I love to work out, of course. So I'm real outdoorsy. So I like to work out. I like to go to the beach. I like to go out to dinners, uh, things like that. And I like sports, so I like to go to events. And I love music and theater, as you know. So I love watching musicals, operas, all the arts. So I keep myself pretty busy, but I really get up every morning and I have my coffee and I pray and I go right to the gym just to get it out of the way. So I don't, because if you get busy, you probably won't do it. So I like to do that. And once that's all done, I'm ready to go because I've gotten up, I've had my coffee, I've had my protein drink, I pray, work out, and the rest of my day is set. So that's what I like to do. And, I love hanging out with my kids and having fun with them. So.
Yeah, kind of setting the stage for success. Do you think most successful people, Omar, get up early, start the day really early? You think there's any truth to that or no?
Absolutely. In fact, my mentor, when I first met him, I was a singer and I would sing clubs Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I got, as you know, you sing to like 2 and then you got to wrap it up. Then you go get breakfast, right? So I was getting up late and showing up for sales at, 10, 11, 12. And he said, son, stop getting up at the crack of noon because you're not going to succeed. If you want to be successful, you got to get in here. So he started getting me up really early, way too early, but I don't do that anymore. But he'd wake me up at 4:30 in the morning, and we'd work out, get going, and be ready to go, set everything up, and get moving in because the clubs open up at 6 in the morning, and there'd be people waiting, believe it or not. And so we would do that, but I think you have to get up in the morning. I tell everyone. One of my mentors, Brian Tracy, taught me that when you wake up in the morning, give yourself a good 2 hours to get going. And he said, get up, do what you got to do, whatever it is, coffee, pray, work out, and then give yourself like 15 to 20 minutes of self development. So even
Right.
now, Joe, I listen to my old mentors. Sometimes I listen to myself. Like if I'm going to do a speech, I want to refresh my mind or hear some things I haven't said. I'll listen to one of my audios on Spotify or Audible or any of those things. And so I think it's important that you feed your mind positive thoughts because, there's a lot of negative people, there's a lot of negative things going on. So it's very important to keep feeding yourself positive thoughts, positive input, and be able to get rid of negativity as soon as possible. And I'm really good at that, Joe. I can tell you right now, I cannot harbor a negative thought. I've gotten that good. Every time a negative thought comes my way, I can move it right out of the harbor. So I've learned how to do that by programming myself, and I program my students and my mentees like that.
So important because I think, that stops a lot of people. They just can't get control of their mind and they can't control their environment. And so much truth to that. And you mentioned the gym, like going very early. You ever notice there's such a difference between the people who are waiting for that gym to open up and then like the nighttime crowd at the gym? It's two
Yeah,
totally different personalities, right?
they're totally fired up in the morning. In fact, I would sit there, they'd be asking me if I could open the door a few minutes early. And sometimes I would. I'd open up at like 5 or 10 to 6, and they were so happy because they wanted to get in, get their workout, and go get going. They'd get dressed at the gym and go right to work. So I think it's a mentality of people who really want to get going. Yep.
Love that. Love that energy. So, I always like to wrap these things up with one thing. You've achieved so much success. So if you had to pick one thing to attribute that success to, just one thing, what is the one thing you think that has made you so successful?
Being coachable, I think not thinking I know it all. Even now, I still learn. I can learn. I'm able to take and anything that's a better idea that I'm using right now, I will entertain it and throw away an old idea. And I think you need to be able to move through the times like that because if you don't, you get stuck. You don't want to be a fixed personality. You want to be an abundant personality. And the abundant personality is always looking to learn and be coached.
Really interesting. And that's true. Like when you look at a lot of the top people, they have coaches or they're learning, they're reading a book. So a lot of truth to that. And thank you for that. That was really helpful information. if someone's interested in a success coach or a speaker, what's the best way to reach out to you?
They can just go to my email, either Omar Periu at gmail.com or info at omarperiu.com. But Omar Periu at gmail.com, it's OMARPERIU at gmail.com, and say, hey, I heard you on Joe's podcast and I want to talk to you about mentoring.
That's great. And, if you want to find out more about how to be more successful, reach out to Omar. His website's omarperiu.com. That's Periu. I'll put it in the show notes anyway. And listen, Omar, that was great. I got a lot out of that. And thanks for sharing. I think everybody's going to enjoy that. And thanks for jumping on today.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you for your friendship. Appreciate you.